Good evening, everyone. It is 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented, moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Cooper. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 3, declaration of conflict of interest. Does anybody have any conflict with the agenda? No? So we are going to Item 4, presentation, Susan Como and Clyde DeViller. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. Before we go with the formal presentation, you have this little gentleman in front of you. It could be a stress reliever, but it is to help you to hold your telephone. It is precious, he is cute and valuable. So this is compliments of the Health Nova Scotia. Thank you infinitely to receive us tonight. On behalf of the Health Council, I'm Claude DeViller, and I have with me Susan Como. So you have already received by email the document, the basic income for municipalities. We will talk about this in the presentation. You have also received the basic revenue, the declaration of consensus. You have that in your email. And you have the presentation that we will make tonight. Also, you have received our health plan for the Clare Health Council, which is the health plan for the western side of Halifax. We will talk about this also. And we will share with you our conviction for the basic revenue. And we hope that with the presentation, we will make specific requests as we go. And Susan will say items, and I will comment also. For the Clare Health the Western Health sector, with the presentations, public presentations that were held, we have 4 sectors. We have the multiple consultations. We have the 4 priorities. I want to explain who we are. We are a part of 35 health councils throughout Nova Scotia. We exist thanks to the Health Authorities Act, and we are made up of volunteers. And myself and Susan, we have 4 members here with us, and I thank them for being here, members of the council. And a bit of what we do, we build a health plan every 5 years. We give grants for the betterment of health. You have with the recreation department here in Clare, as well as other community groups who benefit. We prepare our local plan for Clare, and we work a lot of what we do with public health. We have 3 representatives of public health, and I thank them for being here. And this presentation is thanks to their work that support us, that helps us to make this presentation. If you look at our health plan, there are 4 priorities. There is the housing, health, mental health, the social environment, and the absence of discrimination, and the natural environment. That is part of this. It is new for us, but we'll see where it brings us. and it looks at the environment side. We, during the 5 years, we will engage with the community to have this night. We will start with the advantages of environment. We will look at poverty mostly tonight, and we will talk about what we can do in Clare so that it becomes better. We are not the only ones working with this. There are other health centers in Clare, national, provincial, and community levels. We already sent letters and a petition to the province. We had a information session, and Rian Cooper was with us, and we will continue to work with this because we find that it is important for the elimination of poverty. The basic guaranteed revenue is an transfer, unconditional transfer, given by the government to the citizens so that they can see to their basic environment and whatever their employment situation. The main principles is a universal, without conditions, and respectful of the autonomy. So in your program, you can imagine that if you are close to the people that you work with, you know, for example, that you have to live. This fishing, for example, is not always stable. Yes, we have programs to assist these people, but the basic revenue is to be secure and they can continue to live. So we do not want to leave the people in poverty. We want to support them. We find that the way that is most efficient, and it is an efficient way to help the people. The good news is that we are not the only ones. I did not dream to this because I couldn't sleep, but there are researchers and economists and people who work throughout the country. There is a coalition in Canada that looks at this, and Nova Scotia Group is part of that. And they work hard to put this in place. We talked about the main principles, which is universal access. Everybody needs it. It is without conditions, and it is submitted to criteria of revenue and the residents. It is sufficient, for example, for a person who needs a social assistance receive $756 per month. So this is not sufficient, and we are aiming for something that is more efficient, have more to put more money in the pockets of people who are needed. So this is not a bureaucracy. It's not, you're not punishing. You don't have to be on your knees. There is no formula to fill in. It's not a long process. It is something that will help all Canadians who are needed.
And evidently it will be part of this will be available for most Canadians, and it will answer to more than people, because we're here as for people who are most vulnerable and are most in need. The program simply people visit the Canada has a based revenue, and the allocation office for children, for old age security, and people, older people who have, and also for Canadians people who are handicapped. Isn't it not time to adopt guaranteed basic income for all people? So here we're speaking about programs that already exist, like for child revenue. So people who we think that we don't want to abandon this program because they need extra money because you have kids. The pension, this exists for old age security since the 1950s. There was one also in 1927, and they changed it in the 1950s. And we'll never think about eliminate this revenue. This is accepted, but it is a form of basic revenue. But we will not abandon this there. So the Canadian allocation for workers and handicapped people, these are for specific groups of people, and we don't propose to eliminate these. The status quo does not function in Nova Scotia and Saskatchewan has 12.9 poverty rate, and between 2020 to 2022 it's very in the augmented to 13.1%. So here we see the poverty norm in Nova Scotia is higher than the rest of Nova Scotia. We know that it's southwest Nova Scotia. It's the biggest place in this area. It's the highest. It looks like the percentage has diminished a bit. If you look at the graph on the right, there are so we see the percentage has diminished because the population has increased. So there is in fact more people who live in poverty. In 2015 the poverty level was actually higher, but it's because there was less employment. So in May in Nova Scotia it's 7.2%. So it is not the unemployment rate that is a problem. I went to a conference with Dr. Strang in the past years, and he said we are in an affordability crisis. That is the problem, because people cannot live with the revenue that they have. So that is why we propose this. And just to give you an idea of, in 2022, 24,000 children were living in poverty in Nova Scotia, and 23,000 of elderly people also were living in poverty. The insecurity, food insecurity was 28.9% in Nova Scotia, so 1/4 of the population of Nova Scotia. The status quo is not functioning. The children and families in Nova Scotia have considerably increased between 2021 2022 in Nova Scotia. In December 2026, the poverty level has increased. We have many sources of information. Statistic Canada has reported different reports as that we are talking about this bulletin. These are specific figures for Clare in 2021. In Clare, in 2021 it was 88.20%. When we talk about the children, certain villages villages that are increased here, the sectors of the province of this, there are the children. And what is interesting in this, in
89.
In 1809, the Parliament of Canada passed a resolution that was accepted by all political parties to eliminate the poverty in children by the year 2000. But now we're in 2025, and the poverty level has never been as high. why the municipality should interested for the GBI. Poverty have repercussions on our society, and the costs are partly supported by the municipalities. The municipalities play an important role in the discussions on the social policies, and they're generally the line. Those you can ask questions. So why do we come here? Because you don't have much to do with the social program in Canada, but we are the level of government that is nearer to the population. You know your people, you represent them, and you have the capacity to influence the levels of government that influence this type of province in Canada, because you know what your people are doing. So that is why we're here, because you will see later on that you are not the only municipality to
Support.
That's why we're here. You are at the base of, and you can influence the levels of government that are above this municipal level. Why do municipalities would be interested in the GBI? To ameliorate the physical and mental health, to have more access to medication, nutrition, and transport, to also to diminish the and reinforce the. We must also. It would help to economic. It has two effects. There's an effect.
De nourriture. Sa santé est plus précaire, son stress est plus élevé, assez souvent le niveau d'éducation est plus faible, et leur logement n'est pas nécessairement adéquat. Ça, c'est l'effet sur l'individu. Mais ça a aussi un effet sur la société. Nos coûts de santé et de justice ont augmenté, les attentes dans les hôpitaux, les attentes de services santé mentale augmente à cause de plus de monde, plus qu'il y a de pauvreté, plus de gens qui ont besoin de ces services-là. Il y a plus de crimes, le taux de criminalité augmente à cause de la pauvreté. Alors c'est pour ça qu'on trouve que c'est si important que tout le monde ait un revenu suffisant pour vivre, et c'est pour ça qu'on est ici devant vous ce soir. Et un projet pilote qu'il y a eu en Ontario, c'était surtout dans la région de Hamilton. Ça a duré une couple d'années et ça a eu des effets remarquables pour ces gens-là. Le documentaire qu'on a montré à la session d'information qui a eu lieu dans Clare, Ryan était là, Ryan Cooper, ça montre que ça pourrait travailler, mais malheureusement, le gouvernement a changé et ils ont éliminé le programme.
Pourquoi les municipalités devraient-elles s'intéresser au RBG? Avantages du RBG pour les bénéficiaires. Amélioration de la santé physique et mentale, meilleur accès aux médicaments, à une alimentation nutritive et aux moyens de transport, diminution de la pauvreté, diminution de l'itinérance, amélioration de la sécurité financière, et incluant une diminution de l'endettement personnel.
Enfin, tout ce que je vais parler ici, c'est le marché du travail change. On sait que ça change. Et quand ça change, des fois on quitte du monde de l'arrière. On oublie du monde se perd dans le système. C'est qu'on veut donner la chance à ces gens-là de se remettre. Point qu'ils restent dans la pauvreté, point qu'ils restent avec ces défis-là. On a des programmes, comme j'ai dit, mais des fois c'est pas assez. Et ceci pourra être révolutionnaire pour changer notre fil de programmes sociaux.
Comment un revenu de base garanti sera-t-il mis en œuvre? Nous demandons qu'un cadre soit étudié afin de mieux définir le comment dans le contexte de la Nouvelle-Écosse. Pour le projet de démonstration de l'île du Prince-Édouard, ces promoteurs proposent ce qui suit. Une mise en œuvre par le biais du système d'impôt. Le programme remplacera l'aide sociale, maintien des autres programmes d'aide financière, allocation pour enfants, PSV, SRV, prestations pour personnes handicapées.
Alors, je vais parler du projet de démonstration à l'île premier. c'est qu'eux ont fait le travail. Ils ont fait le groundwork pour savoir comment ça peut travailler. Puis c'est pas rien que du monde comme nous autres qu'on fasse ce travail-là. Il y avait des politiciens, fédéraux et provinciaux. Il y avait des économistes. Il y avait des décideurs politiques, des chercheurs, qui se sont mis ensemble et qui ont développé un programme qui peut travailler pour l'île. Il faut que tu comprennes que, comme Susan a dit, remplacera l'aide sociale. Il faut que tu penses là. Ça veut dire que la province de l'île du Prince-Édouard est prête à faire un overhaul de leur système d'aide sociale. C'est quand même gros. Parce que l'aide sociale coûte cher, puis ça ne met pas beaucoup d'argent dans les poches des gens. Alors, ça nous montre que c'est possible. Tout ce qui leur manque, c'est le buy-in du fédéral. Puis comme vous savez, le fédéral doit rester ses manières de brasser. Ça fait une fois qu'ils se mettent sur pied, on espère qu'ils pourront appuyer le projet de l'île. Et c'est pour ça qu'on vous demande de l'appuyer, parce que ça sera un début. Ce sera une façon de voir, oui, OK, ça fonctionne à l'île, ça pourra fonctionner ailleurs. Et l'autre chose, quand ce que Susan a dit pour la Nouvelle-Écosse, c'est quand même, on sait que chaque province a ses propres qualités, ce qui la distingue de d'autres provinces. Enfin, on croit encore que c'est important qu'on étudie qu'est-ce que ça peut ressembler pour la Nouvelle-Écosse. Et on va sortir avec les demandes spécifiques dans une minute.
Le Canada a la capacité financière d'instaurer un revenu de base.
Oui, on l'a. Et le tableau que vous voyez là, c'est que le budget fédéral est autour d'1 trillion et le revenu de base coûtera 51 milliards. Puis ça dit rien, franchement. Vous dire quoi, c'est des gros chiffres. Mais ce que j'aimerais que vous teniez compte, c'est qu'on peut le faire, on peut l'afforder, parce qu'on change d'autres choses à l'intérieur du système de notre filet social. Puis ça tient point compte de deux choses, les chiffres que je vous dis là. C'est que la pauvreté nous coûte 80 milliards par an. Fait point avec les programmes qu'on a pour la pauvreté, mais le système de santé, le système de justice, tout ça, ça nous coûte 80 milliards de pièces par an. Et on manque 10 milliards de dollars par an en recettes potentielles. Parce que vous savez aussi bien que moi, si quelqu'un de Clare reçoit, disons, 20 000 pièces, disons qu'il reçoit 20 000 pièces à cause d'un revenu de base, est-ce qu'il va le dépenser? Il va faire un voyage dans le sud. Il va dépenser à Food Mart et toutes les différentes entreprises que vous avez dans Clare. Parce que, quoi d'autre qu'il va faire avec? Il faut qu'il vive. Ils ne vont pas le mettre à la banque. Ils ne vont pas faire un voyage. Ils vont le dépasser dans votre municipalité. Ça va aider vos entreprises.
Nos demandes au Conseil. Que le préfet du Conseil et le Conseil écrivent une lettre au Premier ministre du Canada avec copie à votre député fédéral pour lui demander de rendre hommage au groupe de travail fédéral-provincial sur un RBV dans l'île du Prince-Édouard et d'entamer des discussions en vue de la création d'un groupe de travail similaire en Nouvelle-Écosse. Que le préfet du Conseil et le Conseil écrivent une lettre au Premier ministre Tim Houston avec copie à votre député provincial pour demander à la province de créer un comité multipartite de l'Assemblée législative de la Nouvelle-Écosse chargé d'examiner la mise en œuvre d'un programme de revenus de base garanti pour la Nouvelle-Écosse, un cadre de travail.
Alors, les demandes sont assez simples. C'est que vous écriviez une lettre au Premier ministre Carney. Il demandait qu'il appuie le projet de démonstration à l'île. Et vous écririez une lettre au Premier ministre Houston de la Nouvelle-Écosse pour qu'eux créent un comité multipartite de l'Assemblée législative pour étudier qu'est-ce que ça peut ressembler en Nouvelle-Écosse. Puis, si vous acceptez de faire ça, on a des exemples de lettres, parce qu'on va vous parler tout à l'heure de plusieurs autres municipalités qui l'ont déjà fait. Ça fait, si vous êtes intéressé, on peut vous aider avec les lettres qu'on parle.
Fédération des municipalités de la Nouvelle-Écosse. Récemment, la Fédération des municipalités de la Nouvelle-Écosse a adopté une motion pour que le conseil d'administration, sur la recommandation du comité sur l'équité et le bien-être communautaire, demande au gouvernement provincial qu'un comité multipartite de l'Assemblée législative provinciale étudie la faisabilité d'un programme de revenus de base garanti et que ce soit communiqué dans toute la province.
Votre association provinciale, pour ainsi dire, a déjà appuyé ceci. Il y a une motion de 2025. Puis je vais laisser Susan lire la prochaine fiche.
Point d'information, plusieurs municipalités de Nouvelle-Écosse ont adopté des résolutions en faveur du RBV. Selon une compilation datant d'août 2024, des conseils municipaux représentant plus de 75% de la population de la Nouvelle-Écosse appuient déjà le RBV.
Vous ne serez pas les seuls si vous faites ceci. Comme je dis, votre groupe provincial l'a déjà fait. Puis parmi les municipalités, j'aimerais mentionner quelques-unes des municipalités. La municipalité régionale d'Halifax, comté d'Annapolis, Wolfville, la ville d'Yarmouth, la municipalité régionale du Cap-Breton, Kentville, le comté de Kings, Berwick et Middleton. Tous des conseils que vous êtes à proximité ou que vous connaissez bien l'ont déjà fait. Et ça représente, comme que Susan a dit, 75% de la population de la Nouvelle-Écosse.
Mike Savage, ancien maire de la RMF, a déclaré ceci au sommet 2022 sur le revenu de base dans le Canada atlantique. Le gouvernement fédéral tient les cordons de la bourse. Le gouvernement provincial a la compétence constitutionnelle et la municipalité se retrouve avec les problèmes.
Alors, vous connaissez probablement M. Savage, c'est maintenant notre lieutenant-gouverneur pour la Nouvelle-Écosse. Le gouvernement fédéral a les moyens de le faire. La province, quand on parle de compétences constitutionnelles, c'est-à-dire c'est eux qui mènent le programme d'aide sociale, c'est un programme provincial. Et vous autres, vous êtes pris avec les gens qui sont en misère. Vous les voyez tous les jours dans votre communauté. Alors, on a trouvé que c'était une citation assez puissante. Et M. Savage est un très grand défenseur du RBG et il a contribué à la rédaction du document Case for Basic Income in Municipalities. Alors, ça termine notre présentation. D'abord, je vous remercie infiniment de prendre le temps de nous écouter ce soir. Et je remercie également les personnes qui nous appuient, qui sont dans la foule. Si vous avez des questions, on fera notre possible de les répondre. Et dépendant de la question, j'aurais peut-être besoin de demander de l'aide de nos experts qui sont dans la foule. Mais en tout cas, on est certainement ouvert à répondre à vos questions du mieux qu'on peut.
Ben, merci à vous autres pour la bonne présentation. Je trouve qu'il y a un grand travail qui a été mis dans ce set. Je trouve que c'est bien. Pas si des questions, des commentaires. Conseil de vous.
Merci, M. le Préfet. Merci pour votre travail. Très bien. Ça rouvre les yeux quand on voit des nombres et puis qu'on voit vraiment. C'est un problème, garanti. Une question de mon caractère, c'est l'Accessibility Act qui s'en vient. Vous autres, êtes-vous impliqués du tout dans l'Accessibility Act ou si ça rien vraiment à faire avec votre groupe à vous autres? Non, OK.
L'accessibilité. Ashley m'a dit que vous allez me dire ça aussi. L'accessibilité, c'est une priorité pour nous, les personnes qui sont dans le besoin, qui sont handicapées, et ainsi de suite. C'est un groupe d'équité pour la Nouvelle-Écosse. Lorsqu'on donne des fonds, par exemple, on donne des fonds à des groupes d'équité, les handicapés seront un groupe d'équité pour nous. Mais pour dire qu'on est impliqué dans la législation, non, on n'y est pas. Merci pour la question.
Questions, commentaires? Sous-préfet Potier.
On voit qu'il y a une grosse demande pour du monde qui a faim, parce que la ligne quand ils faisaient la food bank dans Clare, la ligne est venue plus longue, et puis ils avons des frigos communautaires qui l'avons fait, qui sont vraiment, vraiment occupés. Il y a un bon groupe de volontaires dans la région qui sont en train de travailler fort pour faire sûr que ça s'avance. Ça fait moi, je crois qu'il faudrait garder un peu plus ici dedans, étudier. Ça fera ma recommandation de...
We have to the letters that you have, and we see if we can put ourselves together. That would be my opinion. If I can comment, for example, if the food bank were not about the fridge community, Clare has money from us. The challenge that we have when we do this, it's important because those people are really in need in the immediate, and the groups that I'm talking to, and what is unfortunate is at the long term when we don't bring these people out of this condition, they just stay in there because they need food, but it's very important. But this is the big picture, and how can we, in fact, I had postal cards from a group in Ontario. The president of the group is running a food bank in Ontario, and they're saying, let's put food banks out of business, because if we can solve the poverty problems, then we wouldn't need food banks. We're in a bigger process, so we're working now what is the big picture upstream, and how can we solve the problem before it becomes worse. But the volunteers, this couldn't be done without them, and we support them 100%. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. You have said examples of poverty levels in Nova Scotia and in Clare. What is the poverty level for an adult who lives alone? That with what is the certain level leveled? Then what is the poverty level in the province?
I appreciate that. My name is Rebecca. I'm with Public Health. All these data use something called the Canadian Income Survey, which is put out by Stats Canada, and they use the market basket measure. So in our province, there's 5 different areas because it costs different to live downtown Halifax compared to the municipality of Clare. So it would depend. So there's not one level of poverty. There's 5 distinct, and it's based on your household size. So an individual living alone, I'm going to give an estimate at around 19,000. If I could kind of give a ballpark, a couple would be about 27,000 because there's the economy of scale, so it's not twice as much. So it does depend on your family size and where you're living in Nova Scotia. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments on this? I think you touch a lot of points, and it would be interesting to see if you have a pilot project to see how it will influence the people. So if you're going to give us time to think about this, if you send us letters that the other municipalities have spent, so we'll send you examples of letters, and I will do that. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Have a nice weekend. Thank you very much. If you want to make a motion for that part, I think the motion. I put the motion on the table. So if anybody wants to second it, and it's seconded by Councillor Cooper. All those in favour, against, motion carried. So we're ready to go. If everything was easy as that, it would be great. Thank you, and have a nice evening. This brings us to number 5, adoption of the minutes, May 21st regular council meeting. Would there be errors or omissions? I will proposed by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Como. All those in favour? Against, motion carried. 5.2, June 4th, council and committee meeting. Have you looked at this one? Is there anybody who has a proposed by Councillor Deveau and seconded by Councillor Cooper? All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. Business arising from previous council meetings. We don't have anything under that. And now I have my warden's report. On May 27th, I can with council members at a consultation permit given by Stantec, which was on the draft of the bylaw. There was, it was a first presentation by Stantec to see what public thought about it. So we noted the revisions. Most of council were there, and we're gonna try to do a second meeting. On May 28th, the 1st of June, I went to the annual meeting of SCM in Ottawa. There was with Councillor Potier. There was good information, and I had the chance to meet the new Senator Surette. And then on June 9th, I took a guided scent of the new Veteran Center with most of you. It was going ahead very well, and I think it should be ready in not too long. And on June 17th, I met the fire chiefs to discuss the recommendation proposed by the examination of the services. All the fire chiefs were there, and we had a good discussion on all the items. And they were they received the report very well. That is my report. I don't know if you have any questions or comments. If not, that's good. We go to number 8, official statements from members of council. Do you have any official presentations? No? Let's give it number 9. We are correspondence 9.1. Mrs. Haley Christian, Executive Director of Public Safety and Security Division of the Nova Scotia Justice Department.
In consultation with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, we have established the budget for RCMP services provided under the Provincial Police Services Agreement for the period of April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2026. Based on your level of service, the costs allocated to your municipality will be $1,597,283 for 2025-2026, as compared to $1,497,375 in 2024-2025. Your service level has been adjusted for any approved service requests made during the past year that were implemented on or before April 1st, 2025. This amount does not include any adjustments that may be requested by your municipality subsequent to April 1st, 2025. The allocated cost to your municipality for 2025-2026 fiscal year represents a 6.67% increase over the 2024-2025 cost for the same complement of officers. If you have any questions regarding this amount or wish any point of clarification, please contact Kay Quinn, Strategic Advisor, Policing Contract. Sincerely, Haley Crichton, Executive Director, Public Safety and Security Division.
Any questions or comments? There is quite adjustments, but the 2 new members will fall in because of the decisions on the new members were not included in May 2025. They're not included in this, but we expected in our operation budget, we expected an increase in the cost for the police, RCMP this year, and we knew that there was an increase coming up. 6.67 is the first time that they tell us. We knew that there was an increase, but we had no details on the percentage from one year to the next, but it is always an educated guess, and we work with that. We put extra in the budget in hoping to cover this. I think we are very good when we will see the two new officers arrive in Meteghan. It will fall in the balance, and it will have an effect on our budget. Of course. That we go on to 9.2, Mr. Michel Bélanger, Director of Operations for the Oceanography Environmental Research Society.
I would like to thank the Clare Municipal Council for its financial assistance in publishing our two children activity booklets, the French version. These two activity booklets will be handed out free of charge at any of the public events that our group will be participating in throughout the Clare region. It is hoped that this small educational step will help create a future generation that will protect and care for our lovely coastline and marine environment. I have also enclosed some copies of the booklets for the council to look at, and if interested, copies can be provided to be handed out to the public at the municipal building. We are very pleased to be participating with the municipality and look forward to future collaborations. Michael Bélanger, Director of Operations, Oceanographic Environmental Research Society.
Questions or comments on this letter? Deputy Warden Pache was looking at the book and he sort of enjoyed it. It looks good, so thank you. 9.3, Ian Watts, Sales and Marketing Manager for Louisiana's Cajun Biotourism.
Part of the summer in Nova Scotia. With the heat and humidity down here in Louisiana, both Cody and I wished we were up there. Reaching out to check in and provide some updates on what we've been working on over the last few months and since we last saw you at CMA. Can't believe it's been almost a whole year. Most recently, we have begun the process of moving into our brand new visitor center. As you may recall, the previous was destroyed by Hurricane Ida in 2021. This new building has been a long time coming and will feature many exciting exhibits, both in English and French, a 3D map of our region with interactive elements, and a couple of alligator mounts, as you would expect. The official ribbon cutting and grand opening will be taking place sometime in the next 2 months, once the final touches are made. We also have the Grand Réveil Acadien taking place here in October. There are multiple events going on across the state, including in Lafourche Parish. Wanted to see if your team planned to come down again for this, or if you had any additional trips planned. As always, we love working with you, our friends in Nova Scotia. Any way we can collaborate in the future or work together, please let us know. Wishing you all the best and looking forward to hearing from you.
Any questions or comments on this? It was a big group that came from Louisiana at the Acadian Congress. For those who weren't there at the council at the time, there were 3 or 4 that came. It was a good group, and they are just sending an invitation. There was a group from here that went there before the Congress when there were discussions on the possibility of returning. So it's not something that is in line at this time, but maybe we could send a congratulatory letter for the opening of the center. And I think they had space there for us, a little corner for the Clare area. Just for information, through our tourism department, we are doing promotion in Louisiana. It is the opportunity to have some cross promotions. It is done already, but with the new project that we just launched for following the CMA, We are looking at collaboration there for promotions and marketing, and I agree with the warden that the letter, council could send a letter to congratulate them for the opening of their center. It would be good. For the staff level, there is still possibilities to work together, and for the Grand Reveil this year. And all agree with this? If there are any questions? So we could send a letter of congratulations for their center, moved by Deputy Warden Poitier, seconded by Conseiller Evans. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. So that finishes 9.3. 9.4, Dr. Lorette, the original committee for the Canadian Associations of Doctors for the Environment. This is a long letter, but it is 5 pages long, so I will just read a little bit and I will stop there. But this being said, just to ensure you that the letter incomplete will be part of the minutes of this meeting and will be available on site if you want to look at it. So it is sent to...
As a follow-up to our February 19th, 2025 letter, we are writing again on behalf of the Nova Scotia Committee of the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment to implore you to urgently reinstate the Uranium Exploration and Mining Prohibition Act repealed by Bill 6 in March of this year. CAPE is a nonpartisan, physician-led organization concerned with the health of Nova Scotians. There is clear evidence that uranium exploration, mining, processing, and the resulting waste create significant and long-lasting damage to human health. Since March, your government has issued requests for proposals to promote uranium exploration in 3 rural areas in Nova Scotia. This opens the province to serious health and environmental harms posed by uranium exploration and mining. These dangers were clearly documented 4 decades ago by the McLeave Commission of Inquiry on Uranium and reiterated in 2008 by expert witnesses who provided evidence for the 2009 legislation prohibiting uranium exploration and mining. The physics of uranium have not changed in the intervening years, nor have the health risks that are posed when it is disturbed. The ban on uranium exploration and mining was not lazy public policy. Rather, it was wise, cost-saving, well-studied, and critically important public health policy. We are deeply concerned that it was overturned without proper consultation with health experts. As physicians and healthcare providers, it is our duty to call your attention to the health dangers this decision has unleashed. The letter goes on from there to list several well-articulated concerns or health concerns relating to uranium. So this is a letter that was sent to the Honourable Tim Houston on behalf of the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment. And again, once the motions are from this council meeting are officially approved by council, the letter will form part of those minutes and will be available to the public on our website.
Are there questions or comments on this letter? Councillor DeVoe. Thank you. Just a small comment that goes with this. We had a meeting this afternoon with Southwest Nova Scotia Biosphere, and we spoke a bit about this mining subject. As how this biosphere we will not support the mining as they presented it. And across the table at the municipal meeting, I was on the impression that anybody supported this. So I think it is something that when it comes back to us, we'll have to think about our things, and it won't be easy. But I think we'll have to get together and think about how this will work out. Thank you. I think that's what we're a bit early in those discussions, and I think they're going to have a bit of problems with the people who are hired to do the explorations. So it'll be probably a little bit more work involved before it comes back to us. Are there any other questions or comments on this? This finishes our correspondence. This brings to number 10, and it is the Chief Administrator's offices. Thank you. I will do a quick overview. I'll try to do it fast. For the expansion of the medical center, the upper level, the tribal, started with the second procedure room. We stopped it to focus on the level, the other level, and now that the basic level is finished, we will work in the procedure work upstairs, and we'll try to finish it at the earliest possible date for the lower level. I mentioned earlier in my other reports that the new offices are completed, and there are already people who are occupying all of these offices. The equipment for the new gymnasium has been installed, and there is still a few pieces missing, but most of it is there. Our new water treatment system has been installed, everything passed, and we're well there. The tests for the finishing of the building has been done. Presently we are there are a few deficiencies that we have to work on. It's really the small details that we're trying to fix before we have our occupancy permit, and we hope to have it before the 30th of June. One of our new is the VON has an office there, and they will move here in July, and they have been finalized their rental fees. We're also looking at the possibility to have an official opening later this summer. We have contacted members of our MLA and Mr. Leblanc to see how ask the minister for the premier. It was Ryan Robico, the MLA, to communicate with the premier's office to see. We're looking around the 31st of July, which will align well with the Clare Health Foundation. That is an event that we'll have here in Clare on that date, and the premier has already said he would be there. So if we can wear two groups that are inviting him to have for two different meetings on the same day. For council on 18th of June, we had 46 people on the waiting list for doctors. Out of the 48, there are 27 that were contacted. The other 21 people will be contacted soon, as we are also in a good condition to the capacity of our doctors to accept new clients. For the veteran center, the roof is done, the vapor barrier inside is almost complete, and the drywall is also coming to an end. We're also looking for a tender for signage. The interior and exterior of the building. Our electricians are on site now. We have received an estimate for the paving, for parking. We're waiting for a second. It's not a small amount. So they look to do all the subdays and everything. It was not just to retop it, it was to do the whole thing new. We're not sure it is necessary, so we're doing another certain boreholes to test the subbase to see if it's still good, and if it is, then we'll just do the topping of the asphalt, which will be less expensive. The arena is not accepted, and finally I had mentioned the other time that we the CB design certifications saying us what the net zero As the warden reported in his report, we visited the site on June 9th. The project is always on schedule. We hope to have it completed in August. This is what they're telling us. I think it's coming quite fast, but we'll see. They're quite confident that everything is going well. So between here and September, it's going ahead easy. As far as complex completion is 65% finished for our extension of the sewer system in Metegan. For the housing project, we met EXP yesterday to revise the specs for the extension of the sewer system. We had discussions with the developer to see what we were show him what we were proposing, and he accepts what we are proposing, so we signed off on the design with what we wanted. And this is what we needed to go off the tenders, which will come out next week, and it will be given off in July. The specs for our sewer system in Metegan, which will be part of that same project. We will also have specs later on this week. So the project is going forward slowly but surely. So it will give us the expansions for the housing project. For new sidewalks in Metegan, there also we're looking at the certain deficiencies that have been fixed in autumn and winter. So this has been launched, and I'm in contact quite regularly with Gary and Construction and Harrison to fix the little problems that are there for the asphalt. Aberdeen will start to do the necessary repairs in July, which is essentially smoothing and patching. The warden mentioned in his report the land use bylaw. We had an open house that was held on the 27th of May at the curling center. Essentially to invite comments from the public and give them a chance to ask questions regarding these projects. There were a lot of people around 200 people or more. The idea of hobby farm is probably what a lot of comments regarding from the public. So from there, the consultants left this session with the information regarding the comments that were given, and we received comments also after that session, and as well as recommendations. So everything is in the hands of the consultants now, who are working how they can best be integrated in the document to make those two documents, the land use bylaw, and it is to have another public consultation when these comments have been incorporated, to once again have the opinion of the public, to see that we're on the right and to have a document that represents our needs and their needs. So what is for active transportation plans? The RSP has been finalized today, and it will be put on a provincial site tomorrow. We hope to be able to have to close this RSP on July 16th, so we hope to be able to give this contract sometimes in July.
For the new washrooms at the Mariduga Park, the work should have started earlier, but we had a meeting with the company yesterday to discuss these delays and a plan for the future. The problem is the lack of electricity on the site. The people are telling us that it is frustrating for them, and we share their frustrations. But that being said, the company told us that the electricity will be in place next week. There is a small possibility that it will be Saturday, but I'm not sure about that. But next week is reasonable. We hope that everything will go well and we will have electricity on the site. The excavation will start on June the 30th of the week, as well as the construction. And again, if everything goes well, the construction will last 6 weeks. The Clare Acadian Tourism Initiative 26-27, we are selling kiosks for the exhibition for the 15th and 16th of August. We sold so far 16 of the 20 kiosks that we have. We have the programming for the expo. We have the Kilted Chef who will be there to make cooking demonstrations. We will have musical artists and cultural events, etc. For the Veterans Banner Program, there is not much new there. We already mentioned that all the forms have been developed. We are waiting for a confirmation from the supplier of the banners and their cost. So once we have that, we will be able to open the program. We are looking at 20 banners for the first year, but if there is a lot of requests from the public, there is nothing to stop us from increasing that figure and have more banners. But we need the request for that, and we have to recognize that it will involve budgetary actions, but we should be able to accommodate the requests. The program will start within a few weeks. The advertising will be made in advance in the Clare Shopper at the end of June, early July, as well as on Facebook and with the Association of Veterans. The total cost for a banner can vary. It would be $225. We are asking $175 per family, and the municipality will contribute $50 per banner, as well as the installation costs. And the Clare Veteran Association has confirmed that they will contribute $5,000 for this project for the costs of the banners for their members. We launched also the preparation for the Grand Fondo. The event this year, again, will be held at University St. Anne's. Up to date, we have 350 people who are registered. 116 of those are from outside the province, and we are trending a bit lower than 2023 and 2013 and 2019, but these figures can go up. And finally, for financial, as of May 31st, the municipality recorded $11,414,072 in revenue versus expenses of $2,612,277 for a surplus of $8,801,795. But we are only in May, so it is very early in the fiscal year that surplus will go down, unfortunately. Again, as of May 31st, the municipality had a balance of $2,964,338,000 in its operating fund, $450,504 in its capital fund, and a total reserve balance of $3,973,945. So that is my report for tonight. If you have any questions. Any questions or comments on this report? Nope. So that's pretty well lit. Thank you. So we are up to item 11, committee reports. Waste check, Councillor DeVoe. Thank you, Mr. Warden. We had 2 meetings on the same day. We had at the same time the general meeting, and we re-elected the committee. There was not a big change in the makeup of the committee. The chair has remained. There are no big changes. after the general meeting, we had our regular meeting. As usual, we spoke of all kinds of things, but we talked about EPR again. It is coming fast, and I think it will work well. We have a group that talked about, there's a group that will be responsible for picking up the blue bags. They made a presentation that was very well up to date. There were just the town of Yarmouth that did not opt to go with the rest. But with the presentation, I think they will think again of their situation, and once you opted out, you can't opt in after, but you can't opt in once you opted out. So I understood, and I spoke with them, and I think they will join the other groups who decided to opt in. So in general, we talk about DPR and a few other small things that we talked about, but that's my report. Any questions or comments on the report? No. Thank you. We are going under new business. 12.1, a motion to rescind the motion of February 19, 2025, declare Columbus Club. The motion 12.1 and 12.2 are related, so if you agree, I'll talk about the both of them. On February 19th, the municipality had made a motion to support a request from the Clare Columbus Club to grant us financing for their hall. At the time, we talked about a project of $20,496. The group made a request to the province for 75% of that, and we needed 25% to finish the project. The group was ready to put 10%, and the request to the municipality is we contribute the 15% that rests to a maximum of $6,104. And that is the budget that was submitted to us. So the motion was made that we approve a contribution of 15% for the total of the project was $6,104. So the last month, the group, Clare Columbus Club, had a response from the province for their financial request. They were approved, but not for the requested amount. They were approved for a smaller amount. So the amount that was approved by the province was $12,411. So it's not something that they can work with. They have to reduce their project. They have to look at what can be done and what is priority. So if we look at the motion as it was written, it was a maximum of 15% of the amount. That means that our contribution to this project would be $2,482 instead of the 6,104. So knowing that, the group approached us to see if we would be willing to look at our investments and to remove the reference to 15% and keep the amount at 6,104. And the group is also looking at investing more money themselves. So it is showing that it shows the importance that they give to this project. So doing that, we are looking at a total project of $25,311 with a provincial contribution of $12,411, a municipal contribution of $6,104, which did not change, and a contribution of the Clare Columbus Club of $6,796, which is $2,800 more than from their pocket. That shows again the importance that they grant to this project. If we look at the criteria that we have for these groups and the new criteria this year, and this what we are presenting tonight respects that option, and in this case it would work, and the municipal contribution is still $6,000, which meets the criteria of our program.
For this reason, and for the reasons that for the good work that the group is doing for our community, and it is my recommendation that we, if you agree with this, the first would be that we rescind the motion that we did on the 17th of February, and also the second is to do a new motion to give a contribution of $6,104 document for the amelioration of their hall. So we're going to keep the same monetary value of our contribution. Questions or comments on this one? If not, does somebody want to make this motion? Councillor Hill?
I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare rescind the following motion from February 19th, 2025. Proposed by Councillor Carl DeVoe and seconded by Councillor Rayanne Evans, that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare approve a contribution from this 2025-26 Grants to Organizations Program to the Clare Columbus Club in support of its hall renovation project, and that said contribution to be equal to 15% of the total project cost, up to a maximum of $6,104, and conditional upon confirmation of the balance of the project funding.
Proposed by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Evans. All those in favor? Motion carried. This gives us the motion to approve the funding of the Clare Columbus Club. So there are questions or comments on this one? Councillor DeVoe. I'd like to make the motion. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare approve a contribution of $6,104 from the 2025-26 Grants to Organizations Program to the Clare Columbus Club in support of its hall renovation project. Proposed by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Conseiller Comeau. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 12.2 motion to approve fire hall at the Metighan Fire Department. Thank you very much. We have been approached for quite a while back by the Metighan Fire Department wanted a new fire hall. They had lost a few water holes, and they wanted to have a good access of water for the water. This is something that we are looking at, but now the discussion had stopped for a while, but recently we were approached by the fire chief in Metighan to relaunch the discussions with a more precise request. They wanted to have a water hall, and they'd like to do it right next to the fire hall in Metighan. Right now there is a problem with the new construction of the villa. There is a runoff of one of the driveways that goes to the villa where they have their burn unit, and the soil there is quite loose, so since there is a lot of water that goes there, it would be practical to make a fire hall there. To drainage would be fill out the water hole, and for them it would be very practical. They had an estimate to do this work, and according to the estimate, we're talking about a cost of $35,286 for the water hole, and cite that there's also a contingency that's put on it because there is bedrock there. So if they hit the bedrock, and they probably will, they will have to use a hydraulic hammer to crush the stone. This is another $5,900, which would be a total of $41,196 plus HST. The fact, if we follow the same model that we have done for other departments regarding water holes, the municipality finances the construction of the water hole and will be reimbursed a certain annual amount as part of their capital plan. So in this case, the reimbursement would be on a period of 3 years. Metegan agrees with this condition. So essentially, we will process now to make the water hole, and Metegan will reimburse us in the next 3 years. This has been already done for the Little Brook and Sabernor fire halls that have been financed this way. So if you agree with this, we need a motion to accept the estimate of the excavating to construct this water hole at the Metegan fire hall at a amount that could go up to $41,196 plus HST. Questions or comments on this one? Councillor Como? I'll be ready to make the motion. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare contribute up to $41,196 plus HST to the Metegan Fire Department for the construction of a new fire hall in Metegan, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's operating reserve. Proposed by Councillor Como, seconded by Deputy Warden Potier. All those in favour? All those in favor, this finishes our portion of the regular meeting tonight. Number 10, there is a closed section, which is a personnel matters, staff matters. The date and time of our next regular meetings is Wednesday, 16th of July at July 16th. So we need a motion to go in closed session, proposed by Councillor Ovens and seconded by Councillor Como. All those in favour, against, motion carried. Thank you and good evening.